Today, I have a new planner to share. It's called Inflow, a planner for women. But first, if you're new here, hey, my name is Lauren, and on my channel, I share tools and tips to help you in your self care journey. I found this planner brand on Instagram and I followed them for a little while and eventually reached out and asked if they would send me one of these to review. I was very impressed when I received it in person. I didn't really know any specs or anything about it. So, today I'll go over that with you and flip through and show you what this planner is all about. This is a 6.5 inch by 9 inch planner. I'm going to call it a planner slash journal. I might interchange using those terms during this review because it definitely can be used sort of like a journal if you don't want to use it like a planner. It on this side it says daily and weekly planning designed with an OBGYN, aligned with your period or the moon, merges science and woo-woo, tailored symptom tracker, 3 months of content, measurable results, simple daily tips. If you are familiar a little bit with cycle syncing, that's a little bit of what this planner like follows, and that's where you'll see these tips kind of align with the different phases of your cycle. The cover is hardcover, really nice hardcover, and it almost feels like a canvas with a silver foiling here. It does have two ribbon bookmarks that are very long, plenty long for, doing like that to get to whatever spot in the planner you are. According to the website, it says that these were designed in New York and sustainably produced in the West Coast. It doesn't specify exactly what they mean by sustainably produced, but I will say when I first opened this and felt the paper, I knew that this was like good paper. On the website, it says it's 70 pound. I actually feel like it seems like thicker than that. The beginning of this planner, obviously, it has like a page for you to write your name and email. Then you have a table of contents, some welcome information. The letter basically explains how we live in a world that is dominated primarily by productivity tools and systems that were designed around the cycles of men. Like men run on a 24 hour cycle, women run on like a 28-day cycle. I learned first about cycle syncing several years ago and loosely follow it today in the sense that I try to plan accordingly as far as like the days in my cycle where I am bleeding. That's usually when I try to rest and not plan to do things like a huge, like intense workout, knocking out like a ton of to-dos or anything like a mentally demanding. I usually use that time to like rest and reflect. And this whole journal kind of falls in line with that exact thing, which was why I wanted to review this for you guys. I do plan on using this. The way this planner starts though is you start using it on the first day of your cycle, and then you basically have 35 days in each month, and then you have 3 months that you can use this planner for. It goes up to 35 days because sometimes as we get older, our cycles might end up being longer. So once you've reached that point where you get your next cycle, you just stop using that section and move on to the next cycle section in the planner. Right here, it explains the different phases. Like this part is your menstrual phase, and then from here is like your follicular phase. Then you have your ovulation phase, which is usually like 2 or 3 days, and then the rest is your luteal phase. Basically, if you don't know about these phases and as far as like productivity, I will say that the luteal phase is usually when I feel the most wanting to like knock off the things in my to-do list, like the unfinished tasks that I haven't finished yet that month. And that's also when I start feeling more like nesting. If you've ever been pregnant, you know, like the nesting term of how when women tend to get this urge to like clean deeply while they're pregnant. Well, this is sort of like every month there's like a time window for me where that's usually when I feel most like doing some deep cleaning. So that's when I assign like those deeper cleaning tasks or allow myself to like really like do those sorts of things, because I know that I'll feel more wanting to do that, not in any other portion of my cycle. Ovulation phase is usually when you feel more like talking to people. So if you have like meetings or you want to meet up with some friends, like that's a really great window of time to schedule those types of events because that's when you'll feel more likely wanting to talk and be in a talkative mood. Um, Usually towards the end, like leading up to getting my period and starting the new cycle, I start losing energy and not having very much, and I don't really want to talk to anybody. And then, of course, the beginning days, I usually don't really want to talk too much. And I've learned to just kind of accept that's just how it is, that it's normal for my instance to be that way. And this follicular phase, well, after like your period ends and before your ovulation, it's usually like a creative phase. So that's usually when I might have more ideas that develop as far as video content ideas or just projects I want to start for around the house or anything else like that. That's usually when I feel the most creative. That's what I have found out for me. And this is just over the years that I've first learned about it and have kind of applied it a little bit in my life now. So here on the next page, they have a hormone explanation, which I love this. Someone in the reviews on their website said that they bought this as a gift for their teenage daughter for when they get their period so that it can be like a explanation with information on how things work. This would have been so awesome to have learned from like day 1 as a teenager. I actually didn't even think about that. I do have like 3 daughters, so I might go ahead and use this as a teaching tool to like show my daughter. My 14-year-old has already reached that point, so I need to sit down with her and show her and share with her this information so that she kind of understands it. Yeah, I think the sooner we start honoring like what our bodies are doing, the better. So this next page shows the mood fluctuations that happen during your cycle. So this kind of explains a little bit of what I was saying, how this like connect section where it's like ovulation, that's when you talk like kind of feel more like connecting with others. The rest during your menstrual phase, a little bit of a renew, like you start increasing your energy, more creative energy. Um, this is usually when I start to feel like the most wanting to like get things done. And then towards the end, it's more relaxed and reach like reflecting and that kind of thing. So on this page, there's an explanation of how to use this if you don't currently bleed. They recommend that you follow the moon cycle. So the moon tends to have a like 29 and a half day cycle, it says. So started with the new moon, which I guess I could pull it up. Let me look. I am filming this at the end of August and it says the next new moon is September the 2nd, 2024. That would be a good time for me to start using this if that's what I wanted to do, like follow it with the moon cycles if I didn't have a menstrual phase anymore and I wanted to follow that instead, that would be how to do it. So, just all you got to do is look up, when's the next new moon, Google it, and it'll tell you when you can start using this if you want to do it that way. Otherwise, it's day 1 of your period. This is just a brief explanation of everything that just was discussed. Then you have a notes page here, a little quote. This is where it starts your first cycle. Another quote, a reflect page. The font in here I really like. I will mention that for this being like a brand new product, I really think this is very good quality as far as the fonts that are used and just the way that this is put together. I really like it. So at the beginning of every cycle, you're going to do a reflection. You're going to rate how you're feeling connected to your body and cycle, how you're feeling connected to your intuition, like on a scale of 1 to 5. I honor my body's physiological cues, and examples are rest, exertion, pleasure. I feel well nourished and well rested. My decisions come from and then like logic to intuition. So that's not a 1 to 5, it's just logically intuition. And then a space for notes. Then you've got your calendar view, which it is a Monday start. You do have a space right here that you can circle or highlight what month it is, and then you can date this. You've got little grayed out boxes for you to put the date. And they recommend that you don't like do like a traditional month calendar view. You start this calendar on the first day of your cycle. So if your cycle starts, let's say it's on a Thursday, then this is going to be where you want to start your calendar, and then you can date it from the Thursday, whatever. What's today? Today is Thursday, isn't it? The 29th, August 29th. So you could put the 29th and then just start dating it from there. It being like August to September would be what this is for. And so start it in that first week, like whenever your cycle starts. That way you have like a full like month for you, not necessarily like a month like a traditional calendar. Here's your symptom tracker for the month. You've got from 1 to 35 days. Most people are not going to make it all the way to 35 days. I personally, for my age, my cycle tends to be anywhere between 21 days and 28 days long. So I will probably use it up until about this point, and then these last few days won't apply to me. But all the symptoms you've got listed here. You can use like a dot marker or just use a pen and check it off or put an X, whatever you want. You can track acne, anxiety, appetite changes, food cravings, bloating, backache, breast tenderness, constipation, cramps, decreased libido, depression, diarrhea, trouble concentrating, trouble sleeping, fatigue, headache, irritability, joint and muscle pain, nausea, night sweats, crying spells, and weight gain slash loss. You got a little space here for notes. And then more note space. A little blurb about menstrual cycles being linked to the moon. It does kind of say how it used, like, I guess there is some research that supposedly said that there is a link between women's menstrual cycles and the moon, but then there was a study in 2019 of 1.5 million women where they found no association between the two. Because it used to be thought that, like, before invention of modern day lights, that like all the women kind of cycled the same, which that to me sounds really weird. So I like how this, like, it doesn't lean, like it said, woo woo. It doesn't lean 100% woo woo. It's like very scientific. It's letting you know, hey, we looked it up and there was a science study that was done and it did not associate a link necessarily between the two. So here's where the planner pages start, and they are daily planning pages. So this, I have noticed there is a little bit of difference in this. It's like a weekly planning page. So for the start of the cycle, which is in your menstrual phase, you do have a prioritized list that looks like this, where it's got your top 3 items, and this is for like the week, your self-care rituals, and then everything else, and a habit tracker. It basically is forcing you to remember that, hey, this is your like rest cycle. You need to be prioritizing your self-care, and it doesn't need to be like a to-do list. So I'll show you what the other um, lists look like for the see, here's like a prioritized section for right after your, this is your ovulation phase. Same thing. So this is the only one that kind of looks different, and then it turns to-do lists, personal, work, and habit tracker, and then a whole thing for notes. So day 1 and day 2. Not going to go through every single page in here, but every page has like a different section right here. I do believe even when you go to the next cycle, that changes. So let me make sure. This is where the second cycle starts, and the day 1 in the second cycle is not the same information. This one says, take a moment to put one hand on your heart and the other on your belly as you breathe. Imagine breathing love into your body, a gift from you to you. Over here it says energy may be low, slow down, light a candle, enjoy a book or a movie on the couch, and consider a nap instead of a workout. So there's nothing like repeated based off of just that right there. I don't think anything is repeated. The menstrual days are going to have a period tracker up here. That's going to be the only difference that I've noticed in the daily pages. But otherwise, everything else is the same. The colors kind of change a little bit for each phase. This is like a coral pink, I guess I would call it. You've got a mood tracker here for tracking like your energy, intuition, mood, sexual vibes on a scale of 1 to 5. Tips for this phase. So it's letting you know, and I'm pretty sure all these tips are the same every day for the days of the cycle. It looks like it changed a little bit right here for day 6 of your cycle. It's switched. So it's trying to give you examples of the types of foods that you should be eating based on what phase you are in your cycle, because that's also part of kind of cycle syncing. It has to do with your diet. There are certain nutrients that your body needs during certain parts of your cycle that kind of help you with the adjustment in all the different hormones. So it wants you to like to prioritize rest for this phase. And then you got a little brain dump section. You've got a schedule from 6 a.m. to evening, and you've got a blank space. 7 p.m. is where it stops. And then it says evening, and you've got another extra line. You've got a to do list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines for a to do list. And right here, you've got a scan for Spotify, I believe, for the week. There's another Spotify one for the end of the week. So that is what this the menstrual phase looks like. And then when you get to, okay, see here it changes. Um, it changed from prioritizing rest to start sweating on day 6. So for the first 5 days, it's like prioritize rest, and then you can start doing like a moderate cardio around day 6. So I like how it kind of like helps you get used to like paying attention to whatever your phase is, as opposed to like a strict like I'm going to do these workout regimens, 3 times a week, and these days I'm going to do this, these days I'm going to do that. And a lot of times we tend to follow the exact same script every single week, but that's typically not how it works like for women. Like it tends to work better. I have heard things about how weight loss can be easier. I've never been on a weight loss journey, but if you follow like the cycle syncing recommendations for what parts of your cycle you do intense workouts, which parts do you do light workouts, and you kind of honor that, some women have reported, I don't know the percentage, but the women have reported that like they've lost more weight following that regimen versus doing like a strict every day I'm going to do this same type of cardio or this type of training, whatever it is. So I would definitely not ignore this advice and just try it and see how you feel. I know that a lot of times, like at the start of a new year, we set these goals and we're like, okay, I'm going to start doing this, myself included. Like, I'm going to do a cardio a couple times a week. And for me, the intensity of that cardio is going to vary depending on what phase I'm in. So, personally, really recommend leaning into that and trying to get away from the, I guess, men mentality structure for like how exercise is supposed to go, because we're women, we're different. So, if you've never tried it before, it's not going to hurt, I don't think, to just try it and see how your body adjusts to it. Here's the creative phase. Looks like it's like, again, it's like pink, but like a little bit lighter. Yeah, by day 11, it switches over to an orange because it's starting to like go through the colors. You see how the period tracker is gone on the top, and you now have more to do lines. So I appreciate that they did not put as many to do lines in the beginning. Like on day 1, there's not that many. And then you have more for day 2. I'm sorry, I'm going like back and forth, but I'm just like noticing these little details about it that are definitely in line with what they are trying to get us to focus on. I just noticed these little symbols here. So this one's obviously something related to food. Heart probably is like sexual energy, and the brain, is that a brain picture? Yeah. So the picture icon helps you understand what it's talking about. So the little foot is going to be like exercise. I'm going back because I'm trying to find what this one said, because I saw the word Sanskrit. Did you know that the Sanskrit word for period and season are the same? Ritu? I wonder how you pronounce that. How beautiful is that? Honor the seasons within you. That's cool. I'm studying to be a yoga teacher, so I've been needing to know the Sanskrit words for these yoga poses, so that's why that caught my eye. So let's see. I'm flipping through so you can see the different color changes. So then after the yellows, it goes into this really pretty, actually, it goes into a green first, and then it goes into these like blues. So it almost like does like a rainbow effect. You can see by the edge of here like what it turns into. And then by now you should be, most people, they aren't going to get beyond here. This is the first time I've heard about this, where they're referring to this part of the cycle where if it's past 28 days and you still haven't gotten it, it says you're entering a wild woman phase where emotions may feel more heightened and things come to the surface that you can shed when you enter menstruation. An essential part of caring for ourselves is recognizing where we are in the moment, prioritizing the proper boundaries, actions, and schedules to work with where our body is today, what is truly needed at this time. So they've got like the intuition bar like really high right here. So a lot of time, I guess, to reflect. And then at the end, after you've got the 35, you've got a notes page, another notes page, more like information, quotes, and they've got the sources cited. This says 39. So if you go to the back, let's see, they've got the references right here. So 39, it tells you this is where that's the source for that information right there. So I like that this has like sources cited so you can, where are they getting the information from? You know, it's not just I'm making this up. So here's your second cycle. This one kind of starts with a different type of reflection. And then you've got some more reflecting pages here that are different. What I'm grateful for, 3 things I'm celebrating from the past cycle, 3 things I'd like to improve next cycle, my journey so far, when I bring awareness to my cycle rhythm, I feel, one theme I'd like to bring into my next cycle is, and you've got your calendar again, your symptom tracker again, same symptoms, another notes page, and then your daily pages. So it starts all over, except like I said, these are going to be different every day. I don't think there's gonna be any repeats from what I could tell. Let's see what the third cycle reflection pages look like. So here's your third cycle. This is the same as the second cycle, looks like grounding. So same as the second cycle also. So it looks like in that first cycle, they don't want to overwhelm you with too much reflection pages in the beginning, which I appreciate. At the end of your third cycle, we're calling this the outro. It says, congratulations, you've now practiced cyclical living for 3 cycles. Hopefully you've tapped into a greater sense of embodiment, living in flow with your rhythm and honoring your divine feminine. So you've got a mindfulness reflection page to rate yourself. These look like the same reflections, questions as the very beginning cycle. Yep, tells you look back at your reflections on page 19. What stands out? Let me go back. 19. Yep, these were the same. So you're doing these in the very beginning, and then they want you to like look back and kind of see, I guess, how you've improved or not improved. Most likely you've improved. some reflection pages again. Ooh, a gratitude list. This is interesting. Then you got a glossary back here. I like how these little bullet points are showing you which phase in the cycle these apply to. So, for example, like this is referring to movement. So, this is again what I was talking about, how you should not do the exact same thing every week. It's different depending on what phase you're in. So, Vinyasa yoga is clear to go for all phases, which I appreciate because I do yoga every day. And then you've got the moderate cardio in your follicular and ovulation phase. Where's the intense cardio? Intense cardio, they've got it pinpoint in your follicular phase. Same thing with dancing and HIIT, which is high intensity training, which I've never done. Pilates, they've got in your luteal phase, sculpt in your luteal phase. Walking is good to go all the time because it's low impact. Stretching is good to go all the time. Strength training, resistance training here in between for your follicular and ovulation phase. Then you've got like the food section. It tells you like what kinds of foods are great for eating, and there's another food page back here for the different cycles. So, do they have sunflower seeds on here? Yes, they do. Okay. If there is a one food that I would recommend that you just, if you only want to start with like one food for cycle syncing, I would suggest the pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds. That's what I had did at first. And just that alone made such a difference in my PMS symptoms, like the breast tenderness, mood swings, that kind of thing. Just that alone. So if you want to make one change in your food, I would recommend that. And this is from my personal experience in the past of doing this. So during your menstrual and follicular phase, so like the first half of your cycle, you're going to eat pumpkin seeds every day. And then the second half of your cycle, in your ovulation and luteal phase, you do the sunflower seeds. And it doesn't even have to be a lot. I think I maybe like a teaspoon. So I would start there. And if you want to kind of pay attention in here, this is a really good resource for all the different types of foods to eat depending on the phase that you're in. You've got a notes page, and then you've got that references page, more notes page, more notes page, a section about the creators of this planner, and then information for the company, and that's it. So if you want to see me use this in action, by the mid of September, I'll definitely be using it. So keep an eye out for that if you want to follow me over on Instagram. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.